After 20 hours in Space Marine 2's patch 7.0, I've tested the major changes. Some of them are really great, but others still need a little work. I'll break down what's awesome, what's broken, and what should change before the patch drops. The good. The new Inferno pistol is fun, strong, but not OP, and adds another layer of depth when crafting your builds. It has the ability to stun just like the Melta, but its magazine size is extremely limited, which makes it balanced. Some of the weapon perk reworks were well thought out and make some of the weapons a little more interesting than they were before. For instance, the Instigator Bolt Carbine actually seems viable now, and the Marksman Bolt Carbine actually seems really good on the tactical class now. Weapon restriction unlocks. The weapon restriction unlocks are a nice touch and add more replayability to the game. The sniper getting the Instigator Bolt Carbine is kind of fun, and the heavy bolt pistol being available for most of the classes is awesome, as I way prefer it to the regular bolt pistol. The heavy class getting the heavy bolt rifle seems a little underwhelming because he can't enter the heavy stance with that weapon, so a lot of his perks don't work correctly with that weapon. The assault getting the power sword is something everyone wanted, so that's really cool to see. The speed style build with the assault power sword is very strong, and I was able to cruise through a solo absolute run fairly easily with that build. Let me know if you guys would like to see a video on that. The tactical having the knife is cool too. I think the chainsword is better than the knife in almost every way except maybe boss damage, but at least it gives us another fun thing to mess around with. The tactical having the plasma pistol is cool now too. It doesn't feel broken to go double plasma build, but it is really cool and fun. It's definitely one of the highest tier builds for tactical. Bulwark getting the heavy bolt pistol is a great addition because he can deal with ranged and air targets way easier now too, and it rounds out his weaknesses really nicely. Same with the Vanguard getting the heavy bolt pistol. I really like the heavy bolt pistol because it really rewards you for hitting those headshots and can be quite powerful if you do. Adding prestige perks gives us a reason to keep grinding, so that's nice, and it gives a little power boost to make the absolute runs a bit easier. The upcoming Imperial Fist and Space Wolves champions for the tactical and Vanguard are so freaking cool. Whoever designed those did a great job, and you need to give that guy a raise. The new level Exfiltration is really fun and looks great. The huge hive city in the background of the desert as you're coming up to the Mechanicus compound is a really nice touch, and once you get into the Mechanicus structure, the art design in the way it's laid out and all the sprawling mechanical background just looks really cool, and I think they did a great job with that level. Improvements I'd like to see. I wish the Vanguard could have gotten the power sword, but it's probably not canon at all as far as the 40k lore goes, so I doubt they could have given it to us, as I believe they still have to clear things with Games Workshop before they put it in the game, so I can understand that, but if possible, please put that in. That would be beyond sick. The prestige perks are a cool idea, but I wish they put a little more thought into some of them, because once you factor in the ones that you would never take because they're underwhelming, there are only a couple meaningful choices and the rest are kind of no-brainers. There needs to be more prestige perks in general, and some of the ones that are there right now need to be reworked. I'll do a separate video on just prestige perks and what needs to be reworked versus what's good. Performance issues. I've run into some pretty heavy performance issues at times in patch 7.0 and also in the standard game still in patch 6.2. My system is a i9-14900K RTX 5080. The game's installed on an NVMe drive and I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm not sure if the game is having issues with the 5000 series GPUs or it's the game not liking the 14900K, but I think the developers should put a little more work into getting the game better optimized. I'll try and throw in a clip of the game dropping to like 20 FPS at times and dropping frames while in large battles. I've just been keeping settings on high and not ultra, and it still gets pretty bad at times. I've found only one bug that happens consistently so far, and that's with the tactical signature perk where he does that melee explosion around him after an execution. Right now the perk does friendly fire to your allies if you're running solo with bots, and it'll actually insta-kill the bots if they're in range of it. DLSS 4. Now that DLSS 4 is available, I'd like to see it implemented into the game. I know implementing multi-frame gen from DLSS 4 could be a big task, but the updated DLSS 4 Super Resolution and DLAA I think could be pretty easily implemented, and it would help a ton with performance and visual quality. So I would like to see the developers get that into patch 7.0 if at all possible. Some of the weapon perk reworks were really well done and added depth to the game where there was previously a lack of choices. For instance, the rework to the Instigator Bolt Carbine and Marksman Bolt Carbine make them quite good and viable choices now. However, some of the perk reworks need further development. For instance, the difference between the top and bottom plasma incinerator trees is pretty minor, and you're basically getting the same experience regardless of which tree you go down. It would be better if one of the trees was reworked in such a way that either one tree is much faster charging but medium damage, and the other tree is much slower to charge but very high damage, or one tree is very strong with the common shots and the other tree is very strong with charge shots. There's a lot more they could have done to vary the play styles based on what weapon perks you choose. It's basically the same issue with some of the other weapons as well. The Melta being another example where the two trees don't end up being that different. As it stands right now, one of them has a little more range and the other one has a little more ammo and fires a little faster, but the actual difference once you get into a mission, they basically almost feel the same anyway. So I think they could have done something like one tree turns the Melta into a very high damage medium range weapon that only gets 2 shots per magazine, or a single shot but the reload time is slightly better than what it is now, and the other tree keeps the Melta more of an all-rounder like how it's currently set up. I don't want to be too critical, and I do feel some of the weapon perk reworks were really well done. The Stalker Bolt Rifle going all in on the headshot build across the top row is a really fun build to do, and the bottom row having way more ammo is different enough to make it feel like you've got two different play styles. And as I said earlier, the changes to the Bolt Carbine were really nice too. Even the standard Bolt Carbine with the bottom row build is quite strong and offers a way different play style than going top row with the Marks. As a side note, I'd also change the bottom row Power Fist build because the AoE Ground Slam still needs some work to compete with the top row build with the 8-meter power weight forward. The Ground Slam comes out way too slowly, and the increased AoE still doesn't seem to be hitting things that you would think it should for its radius being 10 meters. I'll try to put up another video breaking down exactly which weapons with which perks need to be reworked, but I didn't want to make this video too long. Overall, if patch 7.0 releases exactly the way it is now, it's still awesome that this patch got so much content, and I'm really happy to see all these changes. But with just a little more tweaking, this could have been a patch truly blessed by the Emperor himself. If you like this video, drop a like on it for me, and if you've been enjoying my content or find it entertaining or helpful, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel and gives me motivation to keep grinding at this. Thanks for watching.